the space to receive the knowledge. So sit with the back straightened up, with head, neck, and spine aligned one straight line. Just sit comfortably in restful awareness. Bring awareness to the body, awareness of your breathing. So take a deep breath, inhaling very slowly and deeply. Enter into a gap, a pause, a neutral zone. Then exhale very slowly and completely. At the end of exhalation, another gap, the second neutral zone. So go on like this, breathing in and out with awareness of the two gaps between incoming breath, outgoing breath, and incoming breath. Take a few moments to integrate this body-mind into the space of now. Enter into the space of Shravana, listening, authentic listening. Today is a chapter that is going to Krishna. Bhagavan Krishna is going to reveal a lot of sacred knowledge, sacred truth about our own divinity. So please stay in the listening space in restful awareness so that all that is being revealed can penetrate into your inner space and start settling down, awakening the non-mechanical parts of the brain. In that restful awareness, let's invoke Swamiji, our beloved Guru, and followed by 3 times the Mahavakya. So take a deep breath. Nithyanandam paramasukaram kevalam jnanamurtim dvandvatitam gaganashatrisham tattvamasyarilaksham ekam nityam vimalam achalam savadi sakshibhutam bhavatitam trigunarahitam satguruntam namami. Om Nithyananda Paramashivam. Om Nithyananda Paramashivam. Om Nithyananda Paramashivam. Let us bow down sincerely for the being requesting Swamiji, our beloved Guru, as well as Bhagavan Sri Krishna, to bless us to receive the knowledge of Sankhya Yoga, the yoga of wisdom, in this session, and so that we can all experience a cognitive shift from the powerful cognition. With that, let's enter into the session. Next slide. So I'm just going to quickly describe the outline of today's session, the flow. What are we going to cover? Those of you who have read chapter 2, excellent. So you'll be able to track along with us and also ask your seekers question. So in today's session, because last week we had a gap of doing the Krishna Janmashtami, right? We had a special session. We talked about Krishna's birth. So now we are going to do a quick recap on what happened. People who are joining for the first time today can bridge what we are going to cover in today's session. So it's kind of like a bridging first chapter so that you know the context and why this second chapter is the way how it unfolds. Then we are going to talk about Arjuna's fear, why he feared about his bigness, okay? And then we are going to also understand, Arjuna actually pretends to surrender to Krishna. And then where Krishna actually first time speaks in this chapter, he listened to Arjuna in the whole first chapter. In the second chapter, then he starts speaking. So he reveals the Sankhya Yoga in this chapter. the truth about our divinity, who we are. And then we're going to understand this very, very powerful statement. You exist in the past, present, and future. Okay, so this statement need to be understood. And then how Krishna, Bhagavan Krishna, completes Arjuna of his fear of his root patterns and shake him up so that he can move on to stand up for Dharma. All right, next slide. So I'm going to hand over to Sri Vedavyasa to guide us into the invocation mantra of Sri Krishna as well as invocation mantra for Bhagavad Gita. Nithyananda.
Nithyanandam, everyone. I welcome you all. And let us first start by invoking Bhagavan Sri Krishna. Om Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsa Chanuramarthanam Devaki Paramanandam
Krishna Vande Jagadguru.
I salute unto you, Bhagavan Sri Krishna, Guru or Master of the world, Son of Vasudeva, Supreme Bliss of Devaki, Destroyer of Kamsa and Chanura.
Next mantra.
Now, let us invoke the sacred knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. Please understand, Bhagavad Gita itself is the Shakti and Bhagavan himself. Om Parthaya Pratibodhita Bhagavata Narayanena Swayam Purana Munina Madhye Mahabharatam Advaitamrita Varshinim Bhagavatim Ashtadasa Dhyayinim Amba Tvam Anusandadhami Bhagavad Gita Bhavadveshinim. Means, Om, I meditate upon you, Bhagavad Gita, the affectionate divine mother, showering the nectar of Advaita, non-duality, and destroying rebirth, incorporated into the midst of Mahabharata of 18 chapters by sage Vyasa, the author of the Puranas, and imparted to Arjuna by Bhagavan Narayana himself. Please understand, this Bhagavad Gita itself is leading us to the nectar of Advaita and non-duality, and it's going to bring us out of birth and death cycle.
No, don't mix it. Wait. Okay, so now let's do a quick recap on the first chapter.
Yeah. Please listen, everybody. As I last time, in the last show, we were speaking about the dilemma of Arjuna. The state Arjuna was in when he saw all his kinsmen in front of him, where he's supposed to fight with them and kill them. So please listen, O seekers. The truths expounded in the Gita are about personal transformation. Each verse of the Gita is a sutra, a technique that can work on your being and transform you. That is how Sri Krishna brings Arjuna into the space of completion. Please understand, let me explain the completion. Completion is the space and state where you will be totally connected with life and with people in your life in the present moment without any limiting, restraining influence of the past happening in your life. So, let me tell you, we spoke about the essence of Gita last time. Let me again reiterate. The essence of the Gita is living in the space of completion in the present moment. Please understand. Gita is about surrendering the past and the future incompletions to the present and experiencing completion. Understand, I am defining what is incompletion. Incompletions are nothing but not looking at the fact and trying to pervert it, interpret it, manipulate it. All your plans to manipulate, pervert, and exploit is incompletion. Now, Arjuna was ready to give up. On himself. Arjuna is now ready. He's giving up on himself. He collapsed both psychologically and physiologically. His cognition was totally imbalanced, and he was now completely powerless. He was ready to run away from the battlefield, and he wanted to escape from the reality of his possibility. For a Kshatriya, please understand, he is a warrior, all of you. Kshatriya means warrior. He belongs to warrior clan, isn't it?
Yes.
So, for a Kshatriya to say this means one of these two things. Either his act is one of total surrender, or powerlessness of extreme confusion. And still, Arjuna is continuing. He continues to speak. He exposes the root of his problem, his root thought pattern. Let me define root thought pattern. The first strong cognition you receive in your life, which influences you to continue to function based on the same cognition, is a root thought pattern. I hope everybody understood. I want to repeat again once more. Please understand. The root thought pattern means the first very strong cognition you receive in your life, which influences you to continue to function based on the same cognition, is a root thought pattern. It is the pattern you develop when powerlessness takes you over for the first time in your life. Your pure cognition is imbalanced and your mind is born. Understand? Pure cognition is imbalanced, from which your mind is born. The moment he sees that the enemy he has to fight are his own extended family, that's it. He is overcome by powerlessness and he refuses to fight, lamenting, Svajanam, 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 my people, my people, my people. What is Arjuna's fear? Understand, Arjuna's concern about the death of his kinsmen and elders arises out of his root pattern of fear and insecurity about his own death and confusion. Now, the moment Bhagavan Sri Krishna opens his mouth, the first truth is Sankhya Yoga, of which Krishna is the greatest follower himself. So, it is important to understand the rules of existence. Next.
So I would like to ask Sri Vedavyasa. So actually, when Arjuna is in this state of powerlessness, what did Bhagavan Krishna say to him? What was Bhagavan reply to his, the whole chapter he was just crying and collapsing in the verge of total powerlessness. So can you tell us what did Bhagavan Krishna say to him?
Sure. Krishna, Arjuna, as all of you understand, is in this powerless state. So how does Bhagavan speak? Bhagavan Krishna, he's speaking. I think there is some disturbance.
It's okay, we can hear clearly.
Bhagavan Sri Krishna speaks. Understand, all of you, it is really now, here, that we enter into the real Gita. It is from here that Bhagavan or God, Narayana, Sri Mahavishnu starts speaking and singing the Gita-Upanishad into the listening of Nara Arjuna. And through Arjuna, Bhagavan is speaking into the listening of the whole of humanity. Bhagavan Sri Krishna says, "Oh my dear Arjuna, how have you acquired these impurities? They do not at all befit a man who knows the value of life. They lead not to higher planes, but to infamy, means being infamous. Akirtikaram Arjuna. Akirtikaram means becoming infamous, O Arjuna. This is not going to lead you to higher planes, Arjuna." Bhagavan is seriously worried now about Arjuna's behavior. So Krishna says like this. You can repeat after me. I'm chanting. Klaibhyam masma.
Klaibhyam masma.
Gama partha.
Gama partha.
Naitatvayupapadyate.
Naitatvayupapatate.
Aikshudram hridaya daurbalyam.
Kaishudram hridaya daurbalyam. Bayam.
Tyaktvotishtha.
Tyaktyo visto.
Tyaktvotishtha parantapa.
Tyaktyo tishta parantapa.
See here, you're observing Bhagavan Krishna is addressing Arjuna as O Parantapa. Parantapa means the one who does penance. Parantapa means who successfully does a great tapasvi. Saying, do not yield to fear, Partha. It does not befit you. Drop this powerlessness of the heart and stand up O Parantapa. He's saying.
It's like a slap. Wake up. Stop behaving like this stupidity, right?
So Krishna addresses Arjuna's deep fear and powerlessness straight away, without any philosophy. He is not giving any philosophy, understand. Krishna hits at Arjuna right straight away. He's asking Arjuna to give up his foolish weakness and get up and fight. Tyaktvotishtha parantapa means fight, O Parantapa. Bhagavan, he is not offering any consolation, just a straightforward scolding and a slap to awaken him. The whole issue was due to his root pattern of fear, plus worry, and powerlessness. Because of this fear, all our depression, worry patterns are nothing but root pattern of a deep fear of life, a deep self-doubt, fear of expansion, and fear of losing something. You need to stand up, he's saying, Bhagavan is saying. Stand up and complete with your root thought patterns to be rid of them. Please understand, even your ignorance is nothing but your fear of expansion. Many times you continue to pretend to be in ignorance because of your fear of failure. Understand, all of you? Humanity pretends to be in ignorance many times because of their fear of failure. Bhagavan is saying, O Arjuna, Dhananjaya, your bigness frightens you. What is frightening you? Actually, you are big. Your bigness is frightening you. The truth is, you are suffocated by your bigness. Please understand, when I'm saying bigness, it's not physical. I'm not talking about length and breadth of his body. The truth is, you are suffocated by your bigness. Whenever bigness is demanded of you, whenever you feel you are being forced to expand, you shrink even further into your comfort zone. Arjuna's tiredness, weakness, and powerlessness, all these are nothing but the resistance he has in seeing his own bigness. That is why it is easy to accept our weakness. But if someone tells you that you are divine, you are powerful, you are complete, your whole identity starts trembling with fear. Arjuna literally trembles and collapses, totally fearing his bigness. But life always demands our expansion, because expansion is the natural law of life. The more we engage with life, the greater the expansion that will be demanded of us. Whenever we feel powerless, the first thing we should do is take on 10 more responsibilities and commit to fulfill them within an impossibly short time. shake your inner space. So powerfully that there is no way for weakness or tiredness to grow inside you. Please understand what Bhagavan is saying. The way we need to apply it in our life. When we become powerless to expand, what should we do? We should take 10 more commitments and commit to fulfill them in a very impossibly short time. That is the technique. Please understand, it's a technique. It will not allow weakness or tiredness to grow inside you.
Anyhow. I have no time for tiredness. We'll be running.
So, what is Arjuna doing now? Arjuna is pretending to surrender. Arjuna is pretending to surrender. Arjuna, out of his incompletion, pleaded Krishna. See here, Arjuna is thinking pleading is surrender. He's actually pleading. How can a mere mortal like him, me, be bold enough to wage war against my grandfather and teacher with the intent to kill them? See, he's pleading. I shall be condemned if I fight them. So Arjuna is saying it was better for him to leave the war and beg as a sannyasi, but he didn't want his hands to be stained with their blood, as he couldn't see him live after slaying his kinsmen and elders. What will Krishna say for this ignorance? Krishna directly gave the answer. Go to sannyasa out of completion. Take any decision out of completion, not when you are powerless. Krishna denied Arjuna's decision to take sannyasa because, understand, Arjuna is mentioning sannyasa from his incompletion. So Krishna denied because Arjuna was taking decision out of powerless pattern, fear of social reprisal. He will only torture himself and others if he becomes a sannyasi. Finally, Arjuna asked Krishna to instruct him as a disciple whose soul has surrendered to Krishna. Here, His Holiness, Sri Paramahamsa Nithyananda Paramashivam Swamiji, reveals beautifully that it was a lie. If Arjuna had surrendered, he would simply have followed what his master said. He wouldn't have waited for more explanation from master. Surrender out of confusion is not surrender. As he doesn't even know if he was doing the right thing. Please understand, O seekers, only surrender after clarity and intelligence of Shastras out of completion is true surrender. Lot of the humanity says, Swamiji, hey Bhagavan Krishna, we are surrendering to you. I can't do this. What does that mean? I have this doubt. Please explain this. Swamiji, you are saying like this, but I can't understand this. Explain this. Please understand, If surrender is true, you will not wait for more explanation. You would have just followed the master.
Yes, it is true surrender.
Only surrender after clarity and intelligence of Shastras, out of completion, is true surrender. Please understand, O seekers, this is for whole humanity through Arjuna. Still Arjuna is continuing to argue with Bhagavan now. He's still continuing. I would rather beg for my food in this world than kill the most noble of teachers, he's saying. If I kill them, all my enjoyment of wealth and desires will be stained with blood. Don't Bhagavan know what he's instructing? Doesn't Bhagavan know what he's instructing? Still, Arjuna is continuing. After I kill everyone, even if I were to attain unrivaled dominion and prosperity on earth, or even lordship over the gods, who is offering him lordship over the gods in the first place? He's saying, even if I attain unrivaled dominion and prosperity on earth, or even lordship over the gods, how would that remove the sorrow that burns my senses? He's questioning. After he's saying, I'm surrendering, he's questioning like this to Bhagavan. Look at that.
Sounds familiar.
So, what is Bhagavan saying now? How does Bhagavan Sri Krishna replies? Bhagavan Sri Krishna says, you grieve for those that should not be grieved for, and yet you speak words of wisdom. The wise grieve neither for the living nor for the dead. Just as the spirit in this body passes through childhood, youth, and old age, so does it pass into another body. The man centered in himself does not fear this. The non-existent has no being. That which exists never ceases to exist. These bodies of the material energy are perishable. The energy itself is eternal, incomprehensible, and indestructible. Therefore, fight, O Bharata, O Partha. How can man slay or cause others to be slain? When he knows it is to be indestructible, eternal, unborn, and unchangeable. Just as man casts off his worn-out clothes and puts on new ones, the self casts off worn-out bodies and enters newer ones. Wow. So beautifully, Bhagavan is explaining. So beautifully. So what else is Bhagavan saying? He's telling, you are immortal. You are God. You are immortal. Please understand. Right knowledge is the ultimate solutions to all your problems. There is no death in reality. Do not fear death. You are imperishable. Death is but a passage. So, Krishna continues with Sankhya, the knowledge of completion. You are recognized as a soul. In Sankhya Yoga, what is it Bhagavan doing? He's making us recognize us as a soul. The idea taught to you about you is you cannot be cut by weapons, you cannot be burnt by fire, you cannot be made wet by water, and you cannot be blown away by air. Nothing can do nothing to you. Nothing can be done to you by anything. I will repeat once more. This is a very important truth what Bhagavan is teaching us.
Exactly.
Please understand. Sankhya Yoga is all about knowledge of completion. In Sankhya, you are being recognized as a soul. The idea is taught to you about you. That is, you cannot be cut by weapons, you cannot be burnt by fire, you cannot be made wet by water, and you cannot be blown away by air. Nothing can do nothing to you. Nothing can be done to you by anything. Please understand, the moment Bhagavan is opening his mouth, you are given an amazing introduction about yourself, isn't it? Do we know all this about ourselves?
Yeah, before that, no.
The moment even Bhagavan opened his mouth, he just opened his mouth now. Through was listening previously. He just opened his mouth and the humanity has been given an amazing introduction about itself. So, next.
The Shastra Pramana. Shastra Pramana.
Shastra Pramana. What is Shastra Pramana? Shastra Pramana is authenticated and time-tested scriptures which speaks the ultimate truth. So Bhagavan, Sri Krishna says, Nainam chindanti shastrani. You can repeat.
Nainam chindanti shastrani.
Nainam dahati pavaka.
Nainam dahati pavata.
Naina chainam kledayanti.
Naicha
Aina chainam kledayanti.
Kayanti.
Apona soshayati marutaha.
Apuna soshayati maruta.
I will do the sloka completely. Om nainam chindanti shastrani, nainam dahati pavakaha, aina chainam kledayanti, apona soshayati marutaha. Means, weapons do not cleave, nor fire burns the Atman. Water does not wet it, and wind does not dry it. When he talks about the basic truths of life and spirituality, it is Shastra. He is giving intellectual knowledge of completion about consciousness. Understood? Weapons do not cleave, nor fire burns the Atman. Water does not wet it, and wind does not dry it. When he talks about the basic truths of life and spirituality, please understand, it is Shastra. He's giving intellectual knowledge of completion about consciousness. So, understand here, Bhagavan Sri Krishna defines the self. The self is said to be unmanifest, unthinkable, and unchangeable and able. Knowing this to be such, you should not grieve. O Parantapa, you should not grieve. Even if you should think of the soul as being constantly born and constantly dying, even then you should not lament. You should look at your own responsibility, Swadharma, as a Kshatriya warrior. There is nothing higher for a Kshatriya warrior than a righteous war. You ought not to hesitate. If you will not fight this righteous war, then you will incur sin, having abandoned your own responsibility, Swadharma, and you will lose your reputation. People too will remember your everlasting dishonor. And to one who has been honored, dishonor is worse than death. See, understand here. As Arjuna is operating from his fear pattern, Krishna is very intelligent. Lord Vishnu, he landed, isn't it? He's using Arjuna's own fear against him to wake him up. So he's putting Arjuna in fear that if you don't fight this righteous war, you will incur sin because you abandoned your responsibility. You will lose your reputation. People will remember you with everlasting dishonor. Arjuna, more than living with honor, dishonor is worse than death. Once you live with honor, then dishonor is worse than death. He's frightening Arjuna now to wake him up from his own fear pattern. See, Bhagavan is cutting Arjuna's fear with fear. Did you see that? That is the beauty. What a beautiful strategist Bhagavan is. Who can be equal to Bhagavan Sri Krishna? Sri Krishna defines the self again. He's saying, he's frightening Arjuna again. The great generals will think that you have withdrawn from the battle because you are a coward. You will be looked down upon by those who had thought much of you and your heroism in the past. Pleasure and pain, gain and loss, victory and defeat, treat them all the same. Do battle for the sake of battle, and you shall incur no sin. Not only he's using fear against him, but he's also telling the solution, how to come out of the sin. He's saying, do the battle for the sake of battle, and you shall fill up your responsibility. You shall incur no sin. This far, what has been taught to you concerns the wisdom of Sankhya. So, till now, Bhagavan taught the humanity, Arjuna, through Arjuna, the wisdom of Sankhya. Now, he's telling Arjuna, listen to the wisdom of yoga, Buddhi Yoga. Having known this, O Partha, after knowing this Buddhi Yoga, O Partha, you shall cast off the bonds of action.
Yeah. I have a question. Next, can we show the question? Yes, Sri Vedavya. So my question is, what is the technique Bhagavan is giving to Arjuna to overcome his fear?
To overcome his fear. Listen carefully. Now, Bhagavan is teaching wisdom of Buddhi Yoga. There is no wasted effort or dangerous effect in this path of yoga. He's telling, there is no wasted effort or dangerous effect if you enter into this path of yoga. He's also saying, even a little knowledge of this yoga, even a little practice of this dharma, it protects and releases one from very great fear. Those whose minds are attached to sense pleasures and lordship, who are diverted by such teachings, for them, the determination of steady meditation and samadhi, fixed intelligence does not happen. Please listen again. These are very important truths.
Yes.
Just I'm repeating once more. Those whose minds are attached to sense pleasures and lordship, who are diverted by such teachings of pleasures and lordship, for such people, the determination for steady meditation and samadhi sthiti, the fixed intelligence medha shakti, will not happen. Sri Krishna refers to the truth here. Do not be carried away by the apparent ritualistic approach of the Vedas as propounded by half-learned scholars. He's telling, go beyond the three attributes. Nistraigunyo bhavarjuna. He's telling, go beyond the three attributes and seek the firm truth of the infinite, the union. That is yoga, he's telling Arjuna. What are the three attributes? Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas.
The three gunas.
Please understand. Now, Bhagavan is teaching wisdom of yoga. There is something beyond the superficial understanding, Krishna is saying. He's telling, there is something beyond the superficial understanding that will take you beyond the three human attributes of sattva, calmness, rajas, active action, and tamas, passive inaction. And it will take you beyond these into liberation, arising out of true understanding. At that stage, you will be beyond creation, preservation, and destruction. As these would have no meaning in the understanding of the permanence of the ultimate energy, nirdvando, nitya sattvasto, niryoga kshema atmavan. Means Krishna is leading Arjuna step by step, as if teaching a baby to walk. I will repeat this again, very important. We have to, whole humanity has to go beyond the superficial understanding. Only then it will take us beyond three human attributes: sattva, which is calmness; rajas, active action; and tamas, passive inaction. He's saying, this will take you beyond these three attributes into liberation. Then he says, in that level, you will be beyond creation, preservation, and destruction. Because they will not have any meaning in the understanding of the permanence of the ultimate energy. Please understand, Arjuna is being led. How fortunate he is. He's being led literally. Like a baby to walk, he's being taught by Vishnu himself. One by one, the master is demolishing Arjuna's conflicting patterns, arguments, and fears, dispelling his dilemma. Understand? These first baby steps address Arjuna's intellect. For that's all Arjuna has been using till now, isn't it? Arjuna has been using his intellect all this while. So Sri Krishna shows Arjuna how meaningless his intellectual knowledge is, because all this is borrowed with no experiential backing. Now Bhagavan is leading Arjuna into experiential knowledge. Next
slide.
Om karmanyevadhikaraste. You can repeat.
Om kamanena
Vadhikaraste.
vaditaraste
Ma phaleshu.
ma phaleshu
Kadachana.
kadachana
Aima karma phala hetudbhur.
ama kama phalate tu
Mate sangostva karmani. Mate sango
swatkamani
stvakarmani.
swakamani.
Means, understand, you have a right only to work, but never to the fruits outcome of action. Never let the fruit of action be your motive. And never let your attachment be to inaction. Please listen. He is telling you have only right to work. You don't have a right for the fruit of the action. Never let the fruit of action be your motive to work. And never let your attachment lead you to inaction. Wow.
Wow. Just work. Don't expect that. Don't have any
That's
expectation.
it. Essence of Bhagavad Gita is here.
Yes.
Essence of Gita. The technique which Bhagavan gives the humanity is here. That's it. Just if we follow this one technique, over whole life is successful, whether in inner world or outer world. Bhagavan defines yoga. All this while Bhagavan is talking about Buddhi Yoga, right? Actually, what is this yoga? He is defining. Bhagavan is teaching that yoga is union of man and divine. Yoga is completion with the divine. Yoga is your realization of your own self. Your realization that you are divine. It is the state of completion, the state of truth, the state of the present, when all that you do will be in righteous consciousness, dharma. When you perform with this completion and with no expectations, you will do what is right and just. God. Only Bhagavan can explain about yoga this way.
Yeah.
He is not saying yoga is getting you physical health or mental health. It's not limited to that. Bhagavan is teaching that yoga is union of man and divine, completion with the divine, realization of your own self, realization that you are God, you are immortal, you are divine. Yoga is the state of completion. It is the state of truth, the state of the present moment. When will it become the state of the present? When all that you do will be in righteous consciousness and dharma. When you perform actions with completion and with no expectations, that is when you will be doing what is right and just, he's saying. Now, after all this, God, so powerfully Bhagavan, just in few lines, he told everything. Actually, in one line itself, Bhagavan told everything, in the beginning of the Gita itself. But why 18 chapters of Gita? Why we even entered into second chapter? The first chapter, first paragraph, over, isn't it? But why did we enter here? Because Arjuna is going on asking and asking and asking and asking.
Never surrender.
Look at Arjuna. Arjuna is now curious and wants to know more. He's asking Krishna, you are telling me that I must perform without expectations and attachment, and that I must be complete in wisdom. Then Krishna, tell me, what kind of person is this? The one who always stays in the steady space of completion. Sthita prajnasya ka bhasha samadhi stasya kesava. How does he behave? How does this guy with space of completion, how does he behave? How does he walk? And how does he talk? Let me model myself on him. Arjuna is asking. He's saying, asking, tell me, who is it who acts without any interest in the outcome? That means what? Even he's blaming. He's telling, what you're telling, Krishna? Without attachment, you want me to do things. Tell me, who is it who acts without any interest in the outcome? Who is it who is not concerned about the result, whether it is good or bad, painful or joyful? And then he's saying, again with devotion, and how do I identify such a person, Bhagavan? See, understand, who has this nerve to question Bhagavan? Because Arjuna, I should say, is in romance with Krishna, isn't it? He's not only a relative, he's a friend of Krishna, close buddies. That's why whole Bhagavad Gita is being whispered in Arjuna's ear, actually. We are overhearing and talking about this. That's why he's questioning, like how we question a friend. Again, he falls into devotion because he knows Bhagavan is Bhagavan. Not only his friend, but he is Bhagavan. So he's saying, how do I identify such a person who acts without any interest in the outcome? How does that guy walk and talk? How does he behave? Sthita prajna. How is it possible? He's asking. Then Bhagavan says, Krishna is responding. O Partha, he's answering. O Partha, this man, that Sthita prajna man, the space of completion man, is free from desires and emotions. He has neither greed. He has neither greed nor fear. He has no patterns. He is always complete in himself. Pleasures through the senses do not interest him. He has withdrawn his senses from the external or outer world, and has integrated them inwards into his inner space, directed them towards that supreme truth that is beyond all pleasures, attachments, emotions, and sense objects. Krishna, he is explaining, describing the realized yogi, the sthita prajna, to Arjuna so that he too may emulate him and realize himself. Nirmohatve nischala tattvam, says Adi Shankaracharya. Taking a cue from the master, it means absence of desires leads to a clear and still mind and inner space, steeped in the wisdom of completion. When there are no desires, there are no emotions such as joy, depression, sadness, anger, disappointment, jealousy that normally arise from the fulfillment or non-fulfillment of such desires. Understand? When the mind is without fear and anger, without expectations of success and failure, the unattached mind seeks that which is unattached. First, the objects will drop. Then the desire for the objects will drop and then disappears as truth dawns upon him. Oh my God, this is so beautiful.
Yes. Ding, click, click, click. Such powerful truth. Can you repeat the last statement? Ma? First, what drops? All of you listen. Listen, what drops first?
I will tell. Krishna is saying, absence of desires leads to a clear and still mind and inner space, steeped in the wisdom of completion. When there are no desires, there are no emotions such as joy, depression, sadness, anger, disappointment, jealousy, which normally arise from the fulfillment or non-fulfillment of desires. When the mind is without fear and anger, without expectations of success and failure, the unattached mind seeks that which is unattached. So, first the objects will drop. Then the desire for the objects disappears. And then the truth dawns upon us. Next.
So beautiful. Next, let's enter into the Artha Pramana from Adi Shankara.
Okay. I will read the translation here.
Yes.
Here in Apta Pramana means Adi Shankaracharya on consciousness. He says, I'm not mind, nor intellect, nor ego, nor the reflections of inner self, chitta. I'm not the five senses. I am beyond that. I am not the seven elements or the five sheets. I am indeed that eternal knowing and bliss, the auspicious Shivam, love and pure consciousness. Please understand again. In Apta Pramana, self, this is authenticated by self-realization. He's saying, I am not mind, nor intellect, nor ego, nor the reflections of inner self chitta. I am not the five senses. I am beyond that. I am not the seven elements or the five sheets. I am indeed that eternal knowing and bliss, the auspicious Shivam, love and pure consciousness. So beautiful. Adi Shankaracharya said. So understand, you exist in the past, present, and future. Listen carefully. Please don't miss. See, in this understanding, all of you should sit neck, spine, and back straight, no body movements. Why? Because here, as Bhagavan said, chitta. The moment you make movements, because we are not yet self-realized, thoughts will arise, more thoughts will arise. So as much as less thoughts happen now, that much this pure truth will sit inside you. So, O humanity, O seekers, understand the past, present, and future, all the three put together, are eternal, Nitya, or Atman. Only when you come to the present moment do you experience Atman, your true self. But as of now, you are constantly shuttling between the past and future. Please understand, you existed in the past, exist in the present, and will exist in the future. The face and body may change, but you will continue to exist. So the concept of time needs to be understood here. Krishna explains the concept of time. Time is like a shaft continuously moving from the future on the right into the past on the left. You're understanding? Once more. Time is like a shaft continuously moving from the future on the right into the past on the left. The future is continuously moving into the past. The present is the point where the future and the past meet. Your mind is nothing but movements between the past and the future. You have no thoughts if you stop thinking about the past and the future. Please understand, the more your thoughts shift from past to future or future to past, the higher the frequency of thoughts. If you try to think of something in the present, you will find that you cannot. You can think of it only by taking it into the past or future. Am I clear?
Yes.
Next.
So I think at this stage, we'll like to ask all the attendees here if you have questions. Can you please mute? Whoever is. Can you mute this person?
Please
Can
make
you
me the
mute us?
co-host. I'll
Can you
mute.
mute? Yeah.
Make
When
me co-host. I'll mute.
this was when you enter into the room, please mute yourself because we don't want to have interference. It just disrupts the whole flow and the energy. Okay. Whoever just enter, please mute yourself.
Ma, make me co-host. I'll mute them.
Okay, thank you. So
Yeah.
at this point, we would just like to ask all the seekers here who are listening for the last almost 1 hour now. If you have questions for Sri Vedavyasa after listening to Sankhya Yoga, okay, please ask now. We take a few minutes to answer your question before we conclude.
Okay, here somebody is asking, can you repeat the last line, Bhagavan Vyasa? Yes. Here Bhagavan is saying, Sri Krishna is saying, the more your thoughts shift from past to future or future to past, the higher the frequency of thoughts will become. If you try to think of something in the present, you will be finding yourself that you are not being able to. You can think of it only by taking it into the past or future. The more thoughts are shifting from past to future, the moment you want to think about present, you will be finding yourself able to think only by taking it into the past or future without being in the present. That is what Vyasa is saying.
Okay, so
Any more questions?
Yeah. Okay, there's one, Mohan. How to experience that bliss every moment?
Just now Bhagavan told. Time is like a shaft, continuously moving from the future on the right into the past on the left. So he's saying, please understand, the present is the point where the future and the past meet. So your mind is nothing but movements between the past and the future.
Mm-hmm.
So all you need to do, unclutch yourself from past and future and be in the present moment. Then the bliss every moment will be possible. So
Anita asks, what is the significance of the Kauravas army related to the fear or patterns of Arjuna?
Arjuna, see, Kauravas are Arjuna's brothers, stepbrothers.
Yes.
Even though they carried enmity towards Pandavas, towards Arjuna's family, the most loved Bhishmacharya, means who is the grandfather of, great-grandfather of Arjuna, and Arjuna's guru himself, Dronacharya, all his loved ones are there on behalf of Kauravas, fighting on behalf of Kauravas. So Arjuna has to kill them. So because they are his kinsmen, after he came there and realized he literally has to kill his relatives. He's attached to them. And he's fearful of the result of this war because he's going to lose everybody. That's why he's going on saying, Svajanam, 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 my people, my people, my people. That is why he is in this fear pattern. Not because he is not a warrior. Please understand, this powerlessness, it's not coming from because he's a weak warrior. No, he's a very powerful warrior. Very powerful tapasvi. But the moment he saw the opposite army, which is his own people, all his loved ones, he has to kill them. So the attachment towards them, the humanly attachment towards them, and worry about the outcome of these actions, that is the relevance of patterns of Arjuna with Kaurava's army.
Okay, I hope that explains, Anita, your...
Here, Parameshwari is saying, Ma, can you explain what is Sankhya Yoga about? Okay. See, understand, as I told you, the essence of this whole yoga is space of completion and incompletion. Here clearly, the incompletion and root patterns of Arjuna is being shown, and Bhagavan is leading Arjuna into completion process. Bhagavan is exposing the root problem of Arjuna. The first truth. Which Bhagavan uttered is that only. So Bhagavan is addressing the powerlessness of Arjuna. This whole Sankhya Yoga is all about completion process, isn't it? And Buddhi Yoga, about self. Bhagavan told a lot about self here, how we should not be having desires, how we should be unattached to the outcome of the desires, how he is telling about Atman. He's telling about present moment. He told about the three attributes which we should go beyond. Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. Only then we'll be liberated. He also, throughout Sankhya Yoga, he spoke about how we will exist. We existed before, we are existing now. In future also, we are going to exist forever. So Krishna explained about self. He explained about time shift. He explained about Buddhi Yoga, isn't it? This is and completion process. How to deal with the dilemmas, come out and perform our responsibility without thinking about the outcome. So this whole yoga is all about that.
Yeah. To me, I feel that, the fear thing just kind of melted down with this right knowledge, the right cognition about the self. Before that, he was still thinking about all this social conditioning, right? He was attached to this fear of killing his own kinsmen. But once the truth was given to him, and he just realized, the larger picture about, life, and he just suddenly feel so much completion in him from that fear that he was having. This is the way how I saw it.
Yeah. Now, next I'll move further.
Yes, please.
Please understand what Krishna is speaking. I'll give you the essence of this whole thing. A person who is in control of his senses, his mind and thoughts, lives in the present moment. In full awareness of his true nature and is one with Brahman, means that is yoga, isn't it?
Yes.
One with Brahman, one with the divine. Union with Brahman. For such a sage Muni, the knowledge of Advaita, the space of oneness with Brahman, means union with Brahman, becomes a living reality. He conquers all the wrong self-identification with his inner and outer identities. Such a person who is self-aware is fully awake even when he is asleep. Sri Krishna completes his description of the person established in yoga in this whole Sankhya Yoga, whose profile Arjuna has asked for. So Sri Krishna concludes by saying that a person steeped in yoga is complete in reality and is one with Brahman. Yesha Sankhya Yoga means you are God. Brahmi Stitih Partha means he says that this person is liberated even if he were to reach that state at the end of his life. Brahma Nirvanam. Understood? That's what Sri Krishna is saying. I hope you understood the essence. Now, Krishna is completing Arjuna. Arjuna's confusion, end of the Sankhya Yoga. Throughout, Arjuna spoke about Arjuna's incompletions and how to complete. Now, slowly, Arjuna's confusion is reducing. Arjuna had the courage of authenticity to come out and tell Sri Krishna his fears and doubts. This is the first step any disciple, any devotee, any follower needs to take towards clarity. Arjuna had the courage. Everybody, generally humanity, hides their hypocrisy and cunningness inside. They don't have the courage of authenticity to come out and tell their fears. Why? To their guru. Why? Because they want brownie points from guru. They want to feel that whether Sangha, other devotees, disciples, or guru is thinking less about them. This is the cunningness of people. Here, Arjuna had the courage of authenticity to come out and tell Sri Krishna, his guru, his fears and doubts. This is the first step towards clarity. How long it takes for that clarity to emerge does not matter. One may learn in 1 month. One may learn in 1 minute. One may take 100 janmas, but it doesn't matter. You have to take that step. One is on the path of completion. If one is on the path of completion, that is what matters. So, listen to the truth. The science of completion is the essence of Sankhya Yoga. Your question is answered, Ma? The science of completion is the essence of Sankhya Yoga. Completion makes you experience the Sankhya of life. In the second chapter of Gita on Sankhya Yoga, or transcendental knowledge of completion, Bhagavan Sri Krishna who is the space of completion himself, sets Arjuna on the path of completion. So, may blessings from Sri Vedavyasa and Bhagavan Sri Krishna, that may all of you travel that path too. So let us pray to the ultimate existence, Sri Parar Brahma Krishna, to give us all the experience of eternal bliss, Nithyananda. So,
Next slide. So we can go to the last 2 slides. So we'd like to thank everyone here for this session. I think it's been so enlightening. I mean, at least for me personally, I don't know about the rest. So once again, a reminder, you can download the ebook if you don't have a physical copy. I mean, blessed are those who have who have the physical copy. You can touch and feel the copy. If you do not have, you can still do it by downloading the ebook. It's totally free. And in the next session, we're going to enter into a 3rd chapter, okay? Karma Yoga, if I'm not wrong. So before we conclude, I think I have a few things to announce in next slide. We're actually going to invite everybody here who are, because now we're starting the 9-day Ganesha Chaturthi celebration in Singapore, Kailasa, Singapore. So every day we're doing some kind of activity with the kids and also the parents. We started on Monday, we had learned the birth of Ganesha, and then yesterday we had the learning how to invoke Ganesha mantra, and today before the session we had making clay Ganesha. So tomorrow we're going to learn how to draw Ganesha. So if you like to create a deeper feeling connection with Ganesha, this 9 days is what we are going to do with setting up time to engage and entangle with Ganesha. So after drawing, we have making his favorite sweet moda, and then we're also going to make jewelry for Ganesha, your deity. And then we're going to have on Sunday a special e-Guruku lesson to celebrate Ganesha Chaturthi with the kids and parents. And then on Monday, we have our manifestation with Ganesha, and leading up, culminating to the grand celebration on Tuesday, Ganesha Chaturthi with the puja here. So we're inviting everybody who are interested to participate to this activity, daily activity as part of Ganesha Chaturthi celebration. Okay, so Ma, you also want to share about some of the sessions on PSM3 and also some of the completion.
yes.
Go
ahead. As Vedavyasa, I will be suggesting, please come and see Bhagavan Lord Krishna in Paramashivam Level 3 program. Swamiji is Bhagavan Sri Krishna himself. He is giving darshan every single day. Please come early morning, 4:30 a.m. Bhagavan comes. Please come and have darshan every single day in PMS Level 3, Paramashivam Level 3 program. Please don't miss it. We are speaking about Lord Krishna and Bhagavad Gita, which happened 6,000 years back. But Krishna is here. Why are we missing him physically? We are thinking about him after 6,000 years, but he landed here physically and we are missing him. So don't miss. Please come. I will be sending the links to everybody, direct Zoom links. And we have part of this, we are also conducting Attracting Wealth workshop. It is 5th day, yesterday. Actually, this workshop was only for 5 days, but unusual things and extraordinary things all the participants are experiencing. So, as they are interacting with me and learning more and more things, the workshop extended to 4 more days. So, tomorrow, 7 p.m. Indian Standard Time to 9 p.m. Indian Standard Time, 2 hours a day. Please come and experience how to attract wealth, and please attract wealth in your life. So I'll be sending links for that also. Thank you, everybody. So let us end this with Purna Mantra. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Sarvam Sadguru Padarpanamastu Om Nithyanandam.
Thank you all for joining. Please share your feedback in the group chat so that we'd like to hear from you if you haven't had a chance to share in the session. All right, with that, have a good evening, and we